Okay, looking at the map, can you guess what the theme for the month is? It is Hogwarts. Of course, I had to do a Hogwarts bullet journal theme because I like the magic in Hogwarts. It is awesome. And I found a map online of just the grounds, and I decided to use that. And because I said in February that I wanted to start adding splashes of color, the only place I really saw that I could add splashes of color was the Forbidden Forest. So that's where I added a little bit of green. I could have probably put some in with the water, but I felt like that would be a little bit too much, so I just did the forest. But overall, I like the way that it looks. I used a 0.3, I think, point, and I kept some of the words with very thin, very kind of wispy looking. And I think it turned out really awesome. I like it. I tried to not do too much detail because I felt like that would take away from it. But I love it against the stained batik pages. It looks really cool. And then we jump into the calendar, and I found this one that other people used, or someone made for the Hogwarts theme or Harry Potter theme, and it had the weekend separated, and I kind of wanted to try it just to see what I thought of it. And I think it looks kind of cool. It looks like the newspapers a little bit, and I added some using stamps. Decided to add the coloration, and you notice on when I'm doing it, I try to do thick lines and then thin lines, and I had to go back through again to kind of thicken up some of those lines because it didn't quite thicken the way I thought it was going to. But I decided to kind of lay it out this way, hoping that it would kind of help me. And I left a lot more blank space around the edging of the calendar so I could add things or notes. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to put in the edging, but I felt like the weekly breakdown of writings, looking at the different paintings that I was going to do, it just felt like I was trying to just put something there. So I decided to just leave it blank for this time, see what I need to put there, and then do that as I'm going through my month instead of trying to set something up so that way I can do it, if that makes any sense. I like the Harry Potter books though a lot because that was one of the first big stories I started reading with my kids, and I only got to like maybe the middle or close to the end of the first book, and then finally I started losing my voice, and I was like, I don't know about reading stories to you, but it was kind of a fun thing to do with them, and I really like the way this looks for a newspaper, and I like using the stamps. That was really fun to try and use the stamps, and you'll see that I made an oopsie on the 12th, and I went back and whited that out and fixed it because it drove me crazy. But I kind of like even the little where you see parts of the ink around the box area, things like that. I kind of like it. It's just weird. I don't know why, but it kind of adds a little bit of something to it. But I decided to try and just do very simple. I like the 2-page setup because it gives me enough space in the boxes in order to write down all the events, and I keep track of my YouTube postings, all of that stuff on the calendar. So I always come back to the calendar. And then we started doing the projects page, and I broke it down this time into the areas that are in my quarterly con board in the beginning of my journal. If you want, you can look at the changes I made. I'll try and link the videos, but I decided to try and use just those categories that I had in my quarterly goals because I felt like that would make it so I could bring it forward. And then I used a I thought, which was a parfleche kind of color, but it looks a little bit more green to me than what I was hoping, but I decided to just go with it for the color of the journal. And then so I broke it down into home, library, YouTube, business, events, press, and then I put learn on the bottom, but I changed that to platform so that way it would match with the quarterly goals. And I used the stamps again, and I really think I'm going to use these stamps. I don't know about next month, but the month, maybe throughout the year, I'm definitely going to use the stamps. I like the way they look a lot. And then we get into the logs, and I decided to kind of do it a little bit like the 4 house colors being filled for the Anishinaabe log, and I decided to just focus on read, write, speak, and listen. Not worrying about the app or anything else, just trying to get those ones. I did not do very well in February for the speaking Ojibwe, and then I decided to do word count underneath that as my log and just go week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go the days of the week on the side. And I'm hoping that will kind of help me keep it all organized. Then I started doing the mood tracker, and I found this snitch design online. And then I just started playing with the wings a little bit, and it was really fun because I tried to make them like the way I make feathers, and I used the stamps again for the mood tracking label. I don't know. Anyway, and I left the other side blank with the 3 rings for Quidditch because I want to write down why I felt that way on that day on that page and have them side by side instead of filling them out throughout the week. I think it would really help a lot with keeping track of my moods and why I felt that way and what made me feel exhausted, sad, happy, creative, or if it was just an okay day, that's okay too. But I really enjoyed doing this, and I used that pen for the wings that I used the color, the marker for the coloring of the wings, and then I used a gold pen for the rings of the Quidditch and for the snitch that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I think it looked pretty cool, just kind of filling in that coloration. And I'm trying to figure out if I want to keep a mood tracker in my bullet journal or if I want to kind of slowly get rid of it. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to see how it goes in the first 6 months or maybe even just this month and then see if I'm going to keep it because yes, it's kind of good to know about my moods, but at the same time, I'm not quite sure what the benefit is other than I really like the way the mood trackers turned because I try to theme them with my bullet journal. So am I just doing it just for that? Maybe. So I'm still debating. If nothing else, I might just add the image that I use for my mood tracker and then do it like a coloring page for when I feel stressed out or something. I might end up doing it like that instead. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But overall, I like the way the snitch came out in the mood tracker. So I really want to try it side by side to see if that helps me when I'm doing the mood tracker. So, and then with the other pages that I made, and I'm going to give you guys a little sneak peek into my weekly spread with the flip through, and I'm really excited about the elements that I added in the flip through. So I wanted to ask you guys though, before I jump into that, do you guys use mood trackers? Do you like mood trackers? And have you used art in a different way instead of using mood trackers? I'm still trying to figure that out. But I just wanted to know if you guys used mood trackers in your bullet journals and maybe if you have any other ideas on how to incorporate that. So as we're doing the flip through, the green really pops on the cover page, which I'm really excited about. I added some spell books on the bottom of the monthly tracker or the monthly calendar, and a letter to Harry Potter and a little owl. And then in the projects page, I added some newspaper clippings that I found on Pinterest to kind of add the element. I like the daily prophet to be in there. It's really fun. And I like the way the logs and everything came out. The colors look really cool. And then my mood tracker really came out good. And then if you look at the next part, I left I left a blank page in the beginning, and then my weeklies are just little strips to make to-do list or events on the bottom. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that, but I figured I want to try and do it with just little strips. So I did week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and wrote down the days.